Hello everybody, good evening and welcome back to Huddersfield Town Fan TV for this live show this evening. We're going to have a mix of topics, as you can see from the thumbnail and the title. We are going to get into the main part of the show first and then kind of move on to a few other things. Obviously, final game of the season tomorrow. And I think I speak for everybody when I say we're glad to see the back of this season. And it's just unforgivable that we're in this position once again where we're saying something like that. But we're going to get into all that. We're going to talk about the press conference, obviously. Hogg taking his final press conference of what was supposed to be his final press conference before he leaves. So we're going to get into a few of those quotes as well. But yes, get involved in the chat as always, guys. Smash a like, subscribe, and share the channel around. Let me know how you're doing. And yes, thank you all for your support this week as well, by the way, before we do get going. So we've done mainly videos this week, but yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed them. You know, try and do consistency Monday to Friday, and then kind of, I don't know what, yeah, probably we'll have a few days off after today. I'll be back on Monday again, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm not doing any previews or reactions to the video, to the game tomorrow regardless. I mean, I might maybe do a little video, but I'm not sure yet. But yes, let me know who is in the building. And like I said, if you do want to come on and speak with me as well, you can do towards the end of the show. So I know obviously a few people do like to come on time to time, not always though, but welcome on in. Aiden's in the chat. Says hello, mate. Hope you're okay. Big up to you, Aiden. Good to see you there. How are we doing? Make sure to smash the likes and subscribe if you. Yeah, guys, if you can, it is free and it does help the algorithm of the video. If you haven't watched it, if you've missed any of my videos this week, it would mean a lot to me if you go and watch those back after this live show, of course, has finished. And yes, but yeah, thank you all for your support this week. You know, There has been a lot of interest in my videos, which is great. Obviously, you guys checking them out and liking it does get the video around the platform quite quickly. You'd be surprised. So yes, big up to you all. And yes, if you are new to streaming, you can get a 10 euro discount or $10, whatever that sign is. I don't know. But anyway, you do get a discount with the link. Do check that out, guys. And also, James, and he says, hello, mate. Good evening to you, James. How are you doing? Good to see you in the chat. And yes, we're going to get going then, guys. So look, as the title of the video says, guys, we are very much known as No Direction FC right now. That is exactly what we are. We've got an owner who is unwilling to come out and give us a clear action plan moving forward. What are we actually going to be doing moving forward to progress this club back to where we should be? Because there doesn't seem to be any plan, any strategy, or any kind of action plan that we need to start, building back up again after the absolute shambles of the 2 years that we had. We're on the downward trajectory right now, and I keep saying this. I'm not being negative. When I keep getting called negative and to shut up more and all this, I don't want to be saying this stuff, guys. But I'm not going to live in the fake reality of the happy clappers of this fan base who are too far ingrained in basically the owner, the emotional attachment of the owner. Yes, you can't criticise the owner, of course you can't, no matter how bad it gets. It doesn't matter about that, guys. As long as we get our invite to the afternoon tea events that he puts on when he's over here, that's all that counts, apparently, according to some of this fan base who are just too far up his backside and aren't actually wanting the club to move forward. Look, I support the football club. I don't support Kevin Nagle. I support we as fans support Huddersfield Town Football Club. I don't need an emotional attachment with the owner. You know what I mean? I support the club, not Kevin Nagle. Some fans have got it mixed up with who they should be supporting. They seem to show more support to the owner, and you know what I mean. And the club doesn't matter about how bad the club is. Where we are as a club at the moment. We've got an owner that saved the club. That's what I keep getting told. He saved the club. So even if we get relegated to League Two and beyond, don't worry, guys. We've got an owner that saved the club, apparently. But yes, and as Michael said in one of my videos this week as well, our owner Kevin Nagle seems to be more bothered about buying the stadium, the Odeon Cinema, Costa, Pizza Hut, and the surrounding land complex that surrounds the John Smiths than actually prioritising the football side of things first and foremost. And then if you get the football stuff right, then fine, cool, do what you want with the land around. But where's the priorities? Why is the priority elsewhere, not on the football side of things? It doesn't make any sense to me. We are in an absolute mess on the football pitch, and we've got an owner coming out and saying he wants to buy this, he wants to buy this, he wants to buy. Well, if he wants to buy stuff, then don't come and own a football club then. If you don't want to actually put the football first. That might be a good idea. But that's just my opinion, guys. Like I said, he doesn't seem to be bothered about the success of the club. It's just a business opportunity, it seems, that he's got himself in for here. Don't make much money from the club itself, but he'll certainly make money from the surrounding land that he's going on about buying. And I suppose this goes back to the question, why was he so interested in a club that had just got relegated to league? Why were we so interested in a club that was on its way to? Well, like I say, we were on our way to League One. It did happen under his ownership, but we were kind of heading that direction. Why did he want a club that was so? It wasn't like it was a Premier League club. We were a club that don't make much money. You know what I mean? We're not a big, we don't bring in the revenues that some other clubs do. So what was the actual reasoning behind that in the first place? That's what I want to know. Because the way it looks to me, you're just coming to try, not make money at the football club, but knowing full well when he became owner, he would have opportunities to for other business opportunities. You know, as I said, you know, buying the land around the stadium, you know, the different places around the stadium that's there. So yeah, and obviously the stadium, he wants to own the stadium so badly, and he's talking about how he wants it because he wants a stadium that he can call it his own, and you know what I mean, you know, and all that. But is it really about that? Or is it just about being able to make more money from that? We're supposed to be over for tomorrow's game. Maybe we'll hear something in the next 2 weeks. James says, look, for me, I'm sorry. You know, yes, yeah, he probably will be. I'm not sure if he's over here, to be honest with you. He probably will be over here for the final game. I know he was due to come, wasn't he, around this time, I think, from my understanding. So, look, there's no maybe about it, though, James. When you're talking about maybe, we don't need to be in that mindset of maybe. We do need to hear something in the next not just 2 weeks, by the way. I've said we've been going on about, we wait until the final game before we make some necessary. We start to make the actions. That's what he said in the video, Dario. I'll take it with a pinch of salt right now because I don't believe a word he says, but that's what he said. So now we're getting past the game tomorrow. When we can get past the game tomorrow, then you've had weeks. We had the sporting director for a couple of weeks for a start off, so we should have been well on with that since then. So there's no excuses to be waiting a couple more weeks extra to start making the necessary change that needed to be at this football club. The reality is we expect something and start seeing things put in place by next week, and that's what I'll keep saying, because there's no time to waste. The club is an absolute mess right now. You know, we haven't got a manager, we haven't got a sporting director, we've got a bunch of players that couldn't care less. You know, we've got players out of contract that we need replacing. There's a lot to do. We haven't got the time to be waiting and waiting and waiting weeks and weeks for the owner to start making changes, if he's going to make changes, because like I said, you never really know what's going to happen because he promised changes last time. Look what happened. We want Nagle and Hogg as backroom staff at the town. Tom says, yeah, well, obviously, you know, Wagner's obviously been a popular choice with the next manager. And look, I said it in one of my videos, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be against it. Would you really want to come back to a club that is in such a dire straits right now, and you've got an owner he has too big of an ego, and yes, he's running the club down to the ground. Does he really want to be part of that kind of, whatever you want to call this right now, you know, downward spiral that the club's going on? Does he really want to do that? I don't know. I don't think he would personally, but look, we'd all love to see Wagner back, of course. And Hogg, yeah, I mean, if Hogg wants to help as well, yeah, I'm all for that. You know, there's no sentimental rubbish at this football club. I think Hoggy has proven that he loves the club, and he is Huddersfield Town through and through. So he'll always give it his best, no matter what role he is, no matter what role he has. So yeah, good points there. But yeah, I mean, look, as the title says in this video, I don't see any positivity or optimism at this club going forward right now. We need to start here. We need to start seeing things that the owner's going to do to give me and many other fans optimism about going forward, because I'm not going to keep listening. I'm not going to keep trusting his words anymore, because I don't trust the guy. Why should I trust him? Because he's already come in and said so much waffle. Can't actually ever say a clear action plan that we're actually going to follow. It's always waffle, and then he's never delivered anything in terms of that. So for me, talk is cheap. When are we going to start seeing the actions? Because otherwise, if we don't see the actions, as I've already alluded to, this club next season, if we don't get the decisions right this summer, I'm telling you now, we are in a relegation fight next season. There's no more question about that. I'm not even joking. We are in relegation form this from mid-January to now, and that will continue. That negativity will continue unless we actually start to see these changes that need to be made. I mean, ruthless changes from top to bottom. This club needs completely starting again. There's no excuse for it now. We've heard all the words. It's about putting the actions in now, and we're waiting. We're waiting for that action because I don't trust anything he says now. Our owner. Unfortunately, I can't make the game tomorrow. Got a rematch on next season. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, like I said, I wasn't going to go to. Well, in fact, we're going to get into that in a minute, but I wasn't going to go to the game tomorrow. But for obviously reasons, I will be there. Which we're going to get into. But look, our final game of the season, which is you've already said you're not going, but I was actually going to. But look, I want to see this club move forward in the best possible way, and I want to see the actions taken to take this club forward, because we've gone on too. This has gone on far too long now. We've had 2 years of this utter shambles of our ownership, and it's about time things start to be learned. The lessons need to be learned in the club hierarchy, the owner, the boardroom. Yes, we're going to get a new sporting director in. We hope that he's going to be somebody that has experience, because otherwise, the thing is, that is a massive appointment. If he goes and gets another American person that he knows in America that he's worked with over there and he's done well with over there, then this club is finished. I'm telling you now, because we need an experienced sporting director who has been in the EFL before, who has got a good track record, knows what he's, recruitment wise, he's done well in that regard as well. We need to have somebody like, not somebody just because he's best mates with them to come in again, because it's just another. We might as well keep Cartwright in charge, because this club is going nowhere until we get a competent sporting director in. And to be quite honest with you, the Jake Edwards situation as well, I don't trust. Do you think he should be still staying beyond this season? Because I certainly don't. But it looks like the chief executive will stay. I don't know why. Because like I said, if you're going to start again, just start again. Don't just remove one person out of the job. Remove the lot out of the boardroom who failed for the past 2 years. And the reality is that guy lied. That guy lied to us in terms of what he said as well, Jake Edwards. He said there'll be a gradual increase in the prices. That were a lie. So why should we trust him either? I don't trust any of them, and I don't trust him at all. So yeah, look, I'm going off on one right now, guys, but I want the best for this club. I don't have an emotional attachment with the owner. I want the best for this football club, and there is no excuses to not start making positive changes and get this club back on the upward trajectory and a clear plan, strategy, and direction that we actually know that we're going to be going into, because otherwise we're going sinking further and further down. So yeah, I think that's kind of what I want to say about the ownership at the moment. I just can't see any. I don't know what you guys feel out there, but for me, I don't feel any positivity or optimism at all. You had an opportunity to kind of get everybody back on board with with those video diaries, which are just complete waste of time to me, because nothing's ever told in those. It's just all pure waffle. That's the way I see it. There's never anything clear. We want to hear a clear direction of where this club's going, a plan. He could have shared that with us, but he seems to keep his cards close to his chest. He doesn't tell us. He just says waffle and says, trust us to do the right thing. Well, no, we shouldn't trust you, because this 2 years has been nothing short of a disgrace. And Andrew says, after 4 or 5 years as season card holder, I bought a boat. It's not there tomorrow. Can't even give Hoggy proper testimonial. Won't be making the 300-mile round trip for home games until this club is sorted. Hello. By the way, good evening to you, Andrew, and thanks for your comment. Look, this is a guy that has been a season card holder for 45 years, guys, and he has just had enough, like all of us have, and he's checked out until the club is sorted. I don't blame him, mate. We are the only they extended the season card deadline because the sales are so bad. That is why they extended it. So when people are saying thank you to the owner and all this nonsense, he did it because the season card sales are so bad. He shouldn't be surprised about that. It was pure arrogance to put that deadline today for today before it was extended, of course. It was pure arrogance to put that deadline when he knew full well he wasn't making any actions or any communication with the fans about what it was actually going to be doing going forward. We didn't have a spot. We don't have a spot now. We don't have a manager, and he was expecting fans to still renew. That is pure arrogance. So the owner doesn't get praise for that because he shouldn't have set it so early in the first place, and that is the reality. But look, I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you staying away until it's on, because we've been let down season out. And look, you've been at seeing kind of for 45 years, and it's a long trip for your 300-mile round trip to Philadelphia. I don't blame you. This club is a shambles. It's an embarrassment, and the owner has created this. The owner has created this, but that is it. The owner has that is where it's come from, and he needs to sort out the mess that has escalated over these last 2 years. It's been, like I said, nothing short of a disgrace. Big up to everyone that is tuning in right now. Get your comments in down below, and yes, drop a like, subscribe if you're new. We are on the road to 1K subscribers, my dream target. It will be incredible to get there. We've still got a way to go. So guys, do help out the channel. It much appreciated. But look, this thing as well, we're going to get into Hogg and all that stuff about. So we're going to talk about the press conference today as well. They can't even be bothered to give him a testimony. There's no testimonial kind of thing that he was that the club have come out with. Why has he not got a testimony? What this guy has done for this football club is just off the scale. He is a true terrier. He's a legend. He's a captain. He's a leader. He has shown over the years he cares about this football club, Jonathan Hogg. And I tell you now, he's one of the biggest legends over the last 10 plus years that has played for it. And look at the best. You know what I mean. And he deserves a testimonial, absolutely. But the club don't seem to care about anything about what the club's supposed to stand for. And the people that do care about the club, they just brushed out anyway, aren't they? They're pushed out whenever they speak the truth about things, and the owner can't take what's said, because apparently that's how you run a football club. Look, I'm not an expert, but the reality is when you're sacking people for just merely speaking out on truths, really. If you can't handle the truth, you shouldn't be at a football club. You are going to get criticism if you don't deliver. You know what I mean? So this owner needs to take a long, hard look at himself and start turning this club around, because this isn't acceptable, what has unfolded over the last 2 years, let me tell you. But yes, big up to you, Andrew. And yes, look, thank you for your comments, and you've come back in with another comment. This ruins my week, and I would renew if Wagner rocks up. Yeah, look, we just want some positive, something to just get behind, don't we? We want to see action. I don't want words anymore. I'm past that. I want to see action. You know what I mean? I want a new sporting director that will show the intent of this football club going for the owner's intent of where he's taking it. If you get somebody, another one of his sidekicks in the door, it's game over. To get somebody with experience like he should be doing, then we can start. That is positivity, because if we see that he's appointed somebody that will take this club forward and will help us along the way, the recruitment and everything, then that is something to get behind. But at the moment, it's just all hush hush. And like I said, on my other videos that I did as well, the season's been over for weeks. You could have really set out the plan now, because that's what organisation is called. But until he's been obsessed about waiting until the final game before saying anything. But before taking the actions, we'll see actions apparently after this last game. Well, we'll wait for that. He's part American. How do you feel about that? Who's part American? Sorry. Well, David Wagner. Oh, David Wagner. Yeah. I mean, look, Andrew. This isn't about where somebody comes from. I just don't think Nagle is very good at. I just think he's completely clueless of the English game. So yeah, it's nothing to do. It's nothing to do with his nationality. Why I'm against Nagle, if that's what you're trying to insinuate. I'm not like that. I'm just saying what I see. He isn't learned from his lessons, and he's just clueless in the English game. He hasn't brought people in that will help him along the way. So that's what it is. So yeah, no, I've got no opinions on whether Wagner's half American or whatever. It doesn't really bother. I'm not really interested in that. I mean, that guy, we'll always remember him for what he did for the club. And yeah, look, I would have him back tomorrow, but I just can't see it happening unless there's a clear plan and some, you know what I mean. Andrew says no, not all. No, not all. Your spot about Nick. Yeah, spot about Nick. Yeah, no, I just didn't understand what you meant, Andrew. I thought it was a bit of a strange question to ask about, Wagner being part American. How do I feel about that? I've got no feelings towards that. That in many doesn't really matter to me what nationality somebody is. So yeah, don't really have an answer for that. Anthony says if new managers win, it would be a joke. Look, I saw an article actually. We can kind of delve into that actually in a moment about Wayne Rooney potentially managing, and I'm going to share my thoughts a bit later on actually on that because we're kind of in the midst of some. But yeah, look, a lot of fans that wouldn't get the fans on board. That's what I will say if he's appointed. Let me tell you now. But look, like I said, the final game tomorrow. Then, guys, look, I've got to be honest with you guys right now. I wasn't going to bother with tomorrow's game. Like I said, I've been checked out weeks ago, but I wasn't going to bother with tomorrow's game. But you know what? Because obviously Hogg is, obviously it was announced this week, Hogg is leaving. Then after 12 years, I thought, you know what? I owe myself, and everybody owes themselves out there with Sound fans to be there tomorrow if you can, to show our appreciation for one man and one man only, and that is Jonathan Hogg. I don't want to see any lap of honour tomorrow, by the way. That would be an insult. That would be an insult if that happens tomorrow. No lap of honour, thank you very much, for any of this squad. All I want to see Hogg come out and have a lap of honour after the game. That is what I want to see. None of those players, none of the players that have disgraced the football club this season. I don't want to see any of those come around the pitch wanting to clap off the fans. Because I tell you right now, this season has been nothing short of an embarrassment. Players not pulling their weight, not even trying. They've clearly shown their true colours in terms of they're not a care in the world about the football club. They've shown that already. Some of the new guys that have come in this season and performed as badly as they have. So for me, that's what I want to see. Apart from Marshall, to be fair, Marshall's been good this season, and obviously our player of the season as well. He's been good, but Ruskin's had some moments as well, to be fair to him as well. Miller, but again, we haven't seen much of Miller, but the majority of the squad, they shouldn't be having any lack of honour. This season has been embarrassing. The fact that we're 10th in the league, in League One, when apparently the goal before the season started was automatic promotion. Anybody in the right mind who thought that was going to happen when we recruited the way we did, and we kept on a sporting director that had got us relegated the season before, I'm not really sure. I'm not surprised the way this season's panned out. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not surprised. Because when you keep a failed sporting director who's brought you relegated and recruited more dross, and then we sat here now and we're surprised that we're 10th in the league, I'm not surprised. Because that is what this owner deserves after what he did last summer when he didn't make the changes that was needed to do. And we've wasted another season effectively. It's just an utter disgrace. But yeah, I'd like to see Hogg do a lap of honour tomorrow on his own, to be honest with you. That's what I'd like to see, because he deserves it. He has shown that he cared about the club. Many times could have left the club. He even talked about in his press conference today, which we're going to get into in a moment. He had one or two opportunities when we got relegated from the Premier League. He had the opportunity to leave, and he decided to stay. He showed the loyalty. He showed every time he's gone on that pitch, he's given 110%, and so much passion, desire, commitment. He is just a player that epitomises everything about what Huddersfield Town should be about. And look, we love him, and it'll be an emotional day tomorrow, won't it? To be fair, I will say that much. Hello to Jack. Good evening. How are you doing, mate? Make sure you do get your comments in down below, guys, on what you think of all this as we go through as well. But yeah, big up to you, Jack. How are you doing? And welcome to you all who's tuning in, who just joined us now. Drop a like, as it says, and subscribe if you're new. It would be much appreciated. And guys, whilst we are at it, we are going to be trying to look at getting some Town fans on the channel regularly next season, to be honest with you. You know, as a panel, it'd be good. It would be good to get other Town fans that want to come on the channel and speak with me as a guest and things like that. So if you are interested, please do get in touch via my email. If you want to email the channel, HuddersfieldTownFanTV@gmail.com. If you want to email me, if you are interested, or if you do have me on the socials as well, drop me a message on Instagram or X, HTFTV8. So yes, if you are interested and you do like speaking about Town, obviously on camera, then yeah, you know, it'd be good to get a few people on board, even if it is just 1 or 2 people on board for next season, to be honest with you. But yeah, it'd be good to incorporate that into the channel and get other people's opinions. Because look, I bet people get sick of my voice. But look, a lot of my community likes to just come in and say their piece in the chat, and I respect that. But if anybody out there that's watching, or you know of anybody that might want to kind of come on the panel next season, let me know. But yes, moving swiftly on. Now, yeah, this is what I saw. Obviously on social media, I saw the Town fan on social media. Know obviously about all this stuff about the obviously Jonathan Hogg, you know, not being offered a new contract and things. This particular Town fan on X has a completely different kind of like outlook on the way he sees this. And I'm going to read it, and I'm going to kind of share my opinions on it, because I think he's got a point here, to be fair. It's something I hadn't really thought about until I saw it today. Now, he said, obviously, Hogg will be offered a new contract. Don't you doubt that for 1 second. It's a brilliant ploy. So at the end of the game tomorrow, it's a warm applause rather than boos. Then a new manager will be announced, and he'll offer Hogg a new 1-year contract. It's a very interesting kind of way of looking at it, isn't it? And I hadn't really thought about it before I saw this come today. And I thought, yeah, you know what? This guy that said this on X, I think you could be right, because you know what I mean. They don't want that toxicity tomorrow. Absolutely, they don't. They knew what was coming tomorrow, you know. But this news about Hogg has kind of just mellowed people a little bit and said, you know what, we are going to kind of show our appreciation for Huddersfield Town legend tomorrow. The club have been very clever the way they've gone about it, haven't they? And look, if this guy comes back to be right, then I will come back to this post that he's put, because I just think, yeah, if we are sat here when the new manager gets announced and he's then offered a new contract all of a sudden, then we have all been taken for bugs again by the club. So yeah, let's see what happens. But I just saw that today and I thought, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it happened though. It wouldn't surprise me if it happened, because this club, this owner, just takes us fans for mugs time and time again. That's what he's done since he's come through the door. Now, also, I do kind of I'm going on to all the different topics now, guys. So, look, get involved in the chat, and we'll kind of finish off in the next next 20, 25 minutes. We'll try and get to the hour. But yes, Anderson, there wouldn't have been 8,000 if they hadn't announced Hogg. Yeah, look, I mean, they're not stupid, are they? Nagle, the club, aren't stupid. You know what I mean? And the fact is very much, I don't know, it feels like it's carefully being planned, because why have they decided to announce Hogg leaving, but they haven't confirmed any of the other members that are out of contract to be leaving either? Well, obviously, Hogg, the other players, fine. Hogg, he's a legend. He's been at this club for, obviously 12 years, and he's a bigger legend than any of those players that will walk. Well, to be fair, they don't even deserve to be in the same bracket as Hogg, to be fair. So let's put that out there. But I think it's very clever how they've announced that this week. They didn't need to announce that this week. We could have just seen that afterwards. But they decided to do it before the final game. I think it is very clever. And the more I look at that, the more I read that post, from the Town Fan on X that I saw that posted about that analogy, the more I kind of think, yeah, I think you're actually right, to be honest with you. Now, I will put the link in. If anybody does want to come in and have their say. Michael, hello, Michael. Good evening. You've missed loads of the show, mate, but welcome in. I was giving you credit earlier because obviously I was talking about, what is actually Nagle's priority at this club. Because like you said in the in one of my videos, you commented about this, how he seems to be more engrossed in buying a land that's around the stadium, Costa, Pizza Hut, all, you name it, whatever's around, all this stuff that's around the stadium. He's more ingrained, in owning the stadium as well itself, rather than actually getting the product on the pitch right first before he actually starts going into different ventures of extra revenue that he sees as a businessman he is. So yes, I did give you credit earlier, Michael. But yes, good to see you. Hope you're okay too. And yes, good to see you. Now, I actually want to put something out there as well, guys, by the way. We're going off different topics now, so do stick with me. Now, I just want to remind people that when Michael Duff got sacked, we were actually 7th in the league, guys. And, now we find ourselves in 10th and the season just, we just got away from us again, inevitably. So whilst, look, I was never a keen fan of Duff at all, Duff's football at all. And, I did question the appointment in the first place, and being honest. And we weren't getting results as well either, were we? Towards the end. But I don't think it was the right appointment in the first place. And I think it was a very much knee-jerk reaction from the club hierarchy to sack him, because they saw the reaction that Town fans were, saying on social media, and then they just decided to sack him. It's not the first time they've made a decision on the reaction from the fans. We've seen it time and time again with this ownership. And I don't think it was really thought through that well, was it? Because, look, I wasn't Duff's biggest fan. I never was. I didn't really like it. I didn't like his football, didn't believe in it. I didn't understand why he was even the point in the first place. But I go back to it. He was 7th in the table. Yes, we had dropped off. But he was still 7th. And now we find ourselves in 10th. Now, the way where I'm going with this is that to throw Worthington into a position where he was going to be interim coach for the rest of the season, when we still could have got in those playoffs, seemed quite bizarre in my eyes. To be honest with you, and I said it at the time. To be fair, look, we all love Worthy, don't we? Obviously what he's done for the club, as a player, and obviously done a lot of good work in the academy as well. But he is very inexperienced at this level, and I just think to myself, he wasn't used to trying to chase promotion in manager terms. So yeah, in hindsight, what are people's thoughts on that? Like, I didn't want to bring it to the table because look how far we have dropped off. We're 10th in the league. We're 11 points off those playoff places going into the final game. If you look at the automatics as well, by the way, we weren't even close to the automatics win, so I suppose that's not really relevant. But if you just look how big of a drop-off we were. So we were close in those automatics before. We were in them automatic race. We've now ended up 25 points behind second place, which is just embarrassing, if I'm quite honest with you. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments on that as well. But I did say I did want to cover Hogg's press conference today because, like I say, it wasn't emotional, wasn't it? I don't know if anybody's watched it, but he actually got me quite emotional, to be fair, watching that today. And obviously you could see that Hogg, I can't speak. Hogg looked quite emotional as well, didn't he, to be fair? I saw it in his eyes. But look, it was evident, the impression I got, and he said it anyway himself, he was wanting to play on for another year and thought that was going to happen with us. But he said he was shocked when he found out that he wasn't staying beyond this season. So that goes back to the fact is, how has this been handled again? How has the club handled this? Because it seems like it's been handled badly again, if I'm being honest with you, from what he's... I don't know, I just got the impression that it was a really, like, the way the club's handled it, you know, he clearly wasn't happy with how the club had handled it, really. From the, not, he didn't say that, but I could kind of get that vibe from him when I was listening to him. And I just think something, what isn't right there with that, because obviously he did say he thought that he would actually, you know, play for another season. Now, people can talk about if he should have played on or not. That's another story, because for me, I do think that his legs, you know, were going, and look, he's not the same player as what he once was. But what you always got with Hogg is somebody that gave 110% every week, and that's what you always guaranteed with him. You can't ever criticise him for that, because that's what he did week in, week out, no matter whether he's good enough or not at this point. It doesn't really matter. He did give 110% every time he stepped over that white line. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of alarming to me first. And we're going to just say into the comments first before we do get into more of... We're going to go into some of the quotes he said as well. The time I thought giving the role to Worthy was a good decision, but looking back, it was never the right call. Yeah, it did seem like it was like something that would be a good... But on hindsight and on reflection, I think we've all kind of realised, no. You know, when you're in the heat of the battle of a season, you know what I mean, you just feel like it's a good decision. But then when you think back and reflect, you think, well, no matter what we thought of Duff, and I didn't, like I said, Duff wasn't a big fan of his at all. He was still 7th, and we still had a chance to get in there in the playoffs. And at that point, when he was sacked, it didn't look like it was going to happen, because we were just coasting along. But no matter, even if we played badly, though, to be fair, he was getting results. You know, it was shocking to watch, don't get me wrong, but he was getting results from time to time. But then it kind of really fell off a cliff, didn't it? You know, towards the end, which is why he got sacked, because the form was terrible in those games that in the build up to it all. But yes, so yeah, look, I think we can all see that it wasn't the right call. I just look back to what was the reasoning behind it? Was it because the fans reacted, or was it because they didn't believe in him anymore? Which one was it? Because it was for the knee-jerk reaction of the fans of what they were saying on social media. Then that's not really running the club the way you want to run it. You're allowing They wanted to take the heat off themselves, so they decided to sack Duff. That's the way I see it now. That is what they did. They tried to take the heat off themselves because of the shambles that this season has become. So they thought by sacking the manager and getting him Worthy till the end of the season would really rejuvenate the fan base. But they had another thing coming, because, look, we supported Worthy, but I don't think it was ever going to end in the best way with the way they threw him in the deep end again. A bit like they did with Danny Schofield, I guess. We did that with Danny Schofield. Threw him in the deep end, and look how that panned out as well. So, hope Hoggy gets a coaching role or something. Yeah, look, I mean, maybe a mentor for the younger lads as well. And, you know, look, he said it himself today, didn't he? We were already on the press conference. What happened today? He said it himself today, didn't he? How he would, you know, of course he'd take on another role in the club. That's what he said today, and you know, it's no surprise to me that he said that. And yeah, he should. You know, I would love him to see him stay for sure. And they should have given it to an experienced manager with 30 points to play for, Worthy total inexperience and has been schooled at times, i.e. Nathan Jones. Yeah, look, to be fair, he has looked out of his depth. You know, as I said, when, you know, we've seen it a few times, you know, since he's took on the reins, he has looked out of his depth. And I agree, we should. But it goes back to the fact is, there was no plan this season. It's all like off the cuff decision making. That's what it is. There's no plan. There's no, what if this goes wrong? What alternative? There's no plan whatsoever with this club. And this is the problem that we've got. It's just all off the cuff decision making. You're not going to get anywhere with doing that. You need a plan. You do need a plan B if, you know, Duff was their man. If that didn't work out, they clearly didn't have a plan to, what would they do? Mind you, to be fair, I suppose you don't really know what manager's going to do. You don't know how it's going to pan out the season, and obviously, what manager's available either, but you still like to think that they would have acted quickly and got somebody in quickly just for those final games and experienced, even if it was just somebody experienced until the end of the season on a short-term contract, and then you know what I mean, make a decision on a manager going forward. That would have been a better option. So again, you know what I mean, that's my thoughts on it. Andrew says bad decisions from Edwards and Cara. Yeah, but the thing is it seems like Edwards is going to get let off and he's going to stay beyond this season. How do people think about it? How do people feel about that, should I say? Because for me, if you're completely starting again from top to bottom, which is what this club needs, you don't keep somebody in that has contributed to the failure of the past 2 years, do you? You just start afresh completely. You know, people calling for Cartwright's head, and rightly so, let me add. But Edwards shouldn't be still in a job either. Now it'd be interesting to see what happens once the season's finished tomorrow. Will Edwards stay or will he go? It looks like he's going to stay. That's the impression I'm getting. But I hope I'm wrong, because I don't really want him to be here. If we do have a competent sporting director come through the door, experienced sporting director as well at this level, then maybe, well, if we get it right in the sporting director, I think we will go places. But I still don't trust Edwards. That's the point I'm trying to make. Blue Jay says, we'll be very interested to see what type of manager Nagle will go for. We all want attacking football, but that's not always the best way to go. Yeah, look, this is the problem. We've all been taught. The thing is, though, Blue Terry, right? It will be interesting to see what direction. But first and foremost, as I said on one of my videos this week, we need to know what direction we're going, what style of play we want in, what identity we want on that pitch. We need to establish those things first, and then choose the manager that aligns with what we are trying to do. There's no good choosing a manager that comes out and says, I'm an attacking football manager just to appease the fans. We've heard that time and time again. How many times have we heard that in the managerial appointments? It's clear that Nagle and the club hierarchy have not looked at what identity, what style of play we truly want in here. Which style of play do we think will make the club successful? That's what they pay to do, to make these decisions. Not me or you, they are. So for me, yeah, it will be interesting, but they need to find out what identity, what philosophy, what are we looking for in a manager, what do we want? Not just, oh, he said he likes to attack, so we're going to pick him because he says this, because everybody wants to see attacking football. Sure, fans want to see results, wins. Attacking football doesn't exactly mean that you're going to get results and wins. It means that the thing is, we haven't even seen this attacking football that apparently these managers bring. So I don't know anymore. I really don't know. But I agree, it's not always the best way to go. Well, clearly it isn't when that's all we've ever been told. We've got an attacking manager. A manager that likes attacking football to come through the door. Look what's happened. Rooney has been linked with us again. Yeah, I'm gonna get that article up in a moment, Keith, to have a look at that. So yes, we'll get into that in a moment. I'll start protest about Rooney out. I mean, look, we're gonna get. Honestly, I will share my thoughts on the Rooney stuff in a minute, but we are gonna finish the press conference stuff first, and then we're gonna touch upon a few other things before we wrap up. And we'll include the Wayne Rooney link that I saw the article by the Football League World today, which is obviously a very recognisable media outlet amongst in the EFL. So yeah, I'll get the article up. We'll have a see, and share my thoughts on it as well. If Rooney gets a job, I think I'll run away. Terriers FC says, I mean, look, we are going to get into it. I appreciate all the comments about Rooney right now, but look, I mean, no comment at this point. Don't want Rooney, Blue Jay says myself. I find it interesting that despite how he's done in management, I've only heard good things from players that have played under him. It is strange, isn't it, how a lot of players have I think people are more thinking about like what he kind of brings on an individual level, like being on an individual level with somebody, and like I think a lot of players that have worked with him over the last few years have kind of been like in awe of him in a way because of what he did as a player, and you know what I mean. They loved kind of speaking to him, you know, taking tips and advice of like I say, he was an amazing football player, as we know, and yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge as a player, and I think he'd make a really good mentor to the younger lads, you know, in a club, to be fair. But as a manager, look, we're going to get into it, guys, but I think you can kind of tell from my kind of like body language, you can tell what I'm going to say in a moment. But yeah, it is interesting. But I'm not surprised because obviously the impact he has as a player, a lot of players in the game have looked up to Rooney as an idol that they can try and, you know, not replicate, but kind of just, you know what I mean, kind of inspire to become a footballer. That's what the impact Wayne Rooney had as a player, because he was a top player. Keith says the only time I want to see Rooney at our ground is when he comes with one of his team players. Yeah, Keith. Look, a lot of fans are not wanting Rooney, and I'm not surprised, guys. That's what I will say. But look, let's get back to the press conference from today, Hogg. Yeah, obviously he spoke about in the press conference as well about being able to. He felt like he was able to do a job, and he wasn't officially do a job still, and he wasn't officially retiring, but wants to decide what he wants to do over the next few weeks. Once the season, obviously, once the final game has happened tomorrow, he can then have a few weeks to decide what he wants to do. Now, let's get into some quotes that he actually said word for word. He started off with saying he could say it's been coming in the past 6 months. So I know I've not played as much football as I would have liked this year, but I think it's part and parcel of the game. He said, all good things come to an end. Saturday will be a special moment, and it could be quite emotional on Saturday for me, he said. So, look, yeah. For me, look, he recognises his levels, his performance levels have dropped off, you know, and he's not silly, is he? He knows. And obviously he hasn't played as much football as he'd liked, but I think he knows the levels of his performance has dropped as he's got older. Well, like I say, over the last few seasons, I think he's kind of just got kind of a bit worse. But obviously, he's still giving 110%, always showing pride and passion in the badge. But yeah, so look, all things do come to an end, don't they? But like I said, he's already alluded to he's going to be emotional on Saturday, and I think he's going to be emotional for us all, really, isn't it? Because when a play, you see, that's what you get when you give 110% and you show pride, commitment, and loyalty in the club. The reception he gets tomorrow is what you get when you put everything into the club. Because yes, we do feel emotional about him leaving, if he is to leave, like I said. But that's what the club has said, so that's what we're going to take for now. He said it is possible I could still stay if the new manager wants me, and it's something I would be open to. I would like to stay another year and help develop the younger lads and try and improve them and drive standards and stuff like that, he said. So yeah, look, he is the one to drive standards. He is the one to develop those younger lads. And yeah, I do believe that he's a good role for that. So yeah, of course he'd stay at the club if the new manager wants him. But surely it's not down to the manager, it's down to the club hierarchy as well, to decide. Obviously, the manager that comes in will say, you know, obviously we'll have a say on it, but I do think the way the club have handled it, it seems like he's just kind of been let go in a way and said, we're not going to renew your contract. I think if that's happened, I think it's kind of poor, to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. He also said it's possible I could... Oh yeah, I've already said that. So that is an option, he says, and there's other options out there. There's there is another option out there in terms of doing stuff for the club and trying to get the club where it belongs and try and get the good old days back again. So he talked about this in his, he's talked about this many times about getting this club back to where it belongs. And you know what I mean? And try to get those good old days back again, like we had under, David Wagner and obviously Carlos Corbin as well. That was a nice kind of short but sweet kind of period that we had under a manager over the last few years. I think those two managers stand out for me. Now, he also said, I've had chats with people, but there's still going to be a lot of change. There's no manager, there's no sporting director, so it's a bit open at the moment. When they're in power and people are through the doors, there's decisions to be made. And yeah, obviously, yeah, he's right, isn't he? I haven't really thought about next season, he said, to be honest. I did think I was going to try and do another year and then have a good think about it and do a bit of coaching with the younger lads, try and develop them. So yeah, he did talk about, as I kind of alluded to that earlier, he did kind of talk about that in today, how he did feel like he had another year left in him, and then he would go into coaching potentially. So yeah, he also finally said he's going to have a sit down with the owner next week. Apparently, he sent me a lovely message. He said, which was really nice of him. So we're going to have a chat next week and see where it lands. So yes, I mean, to see what is said in the, what is released from that. But yeah, you could really sense throughout this, he was very emotional, wasn't he? To be honest, so was I kind of listening to it and being honest with you guys. It did kind of, well up a little bit and have a few goosebumps along the way. Because this guy means a lot to us, you know what I mean? He talks about how much he cares for the club and he loves the club and everything. And I just think what he has offered this football club, we have had a relationship, a bond. He's taken on a journey. This legend of our club, he's one of the biggest legends that I've known over the past 10 plus years at the club, absolutely. And we've just created that special bond with him. He's been here, highs and the lows, and he's stuck with us, and we appreciate that as fans. And yeah, we love him. We really do love him, don't we? So yes, it was emotional for him today. I could see it in his eyes, and I was emotional myself. I'm sure a few others out there will be emotional. It was emotional listening to it, if you've listened to it. And tomorrow, look, it will be emotional tomorrow, as I've already alluded to, guys, and we do say goodbye to, well, what we think is a goodbye, because we don't know yet. To be the biggest legend we have ever had over the past 10 plus years, in my eyes. Because no one's come close to him in terms of loyalty and passion and pride in the badge, for me. Nobody. And I think when you grow up with somebody like, obviously, me, the newer generation, I've kind of, Hoggy's the, one of the first players, that I really remember. And, and that's why it's quite emotional as well, because we you know what I mean? One of the first players, and now he's kind of leaving. It is sad. In a way, good things do come to an end in the end, of course they do, but yeah, it's just one of those, isn't it? Let's get the comments. Yeah, when Hoggy was talking, you could tell how much he loves the club and the fans, and we all love him. He always gives his all, don't care what anyone says about him. Look, yeah, no, absolutely. The thing is, though, fans have just said he hasn't performed to the levels that we've seen, and they're right, but you can't ever discredit him for giving 110% and giving his all every time he steps off that white line. He always gives his all. So yeah, look, you can sense how much he loves us, loves the club, loves the fans as well, and we love him back, of course. So yeah, but yeah, I agree, Keith. Hoggy, that man bleeds blue and white. He does. He's Mr. Huddersfield Town, isn't he? That's what he is, absolutely. Hot Mags, with the Hogg announcement, it sounds like the club has sorted the release of the players list. Hopefully all of the out-of-contract players go. Well, look, it's not going to be a good look, is it, if they've released Hoggy, who has been at the club over 12, been at the club for 12 years, and they keep some of these spineless cowards beyond this season. It's not going to be a good look, is it? So for me, I'm telling you now, none of those players should be renewed because it would be an insult if they do. This club is going nowhere if we keep making shocking decisions. If it came out Hogg was the next manager, what would we all think of it? Well, like I said, at the moment, it seems to me like it's about what he wants, though, isn't it, at the moment? Because for me, the impression I got today from the press conference was that he felt he could play for another year, and then he would consider coaching. He wasn't really talking about coaching at this point. He did say that he was going to sit down over the next few weeks after tomorrow and decide what he wants to do. I think it's down to what he wants to do. Now, I think he's got the potential to be a manager. I really do think that. We've seen his leadership, and you know what? I could really say I don't think anybody would be against the fact of Hoggy becoming the manager if further down the line. But I just don't necessarily think that is what is going to happen at the moment. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't know if anybody else has kind of got any thoughts about it. To Keith in the chat. Martin says Callum Marshall got the Player of the Season award rightly deserved. Yeah, look, Callum Marshall has been a breath of fresh air, hasn't he? And they do say never fall in love with a lone player, but Callum Marshall has been brilliant, hasn't he? Absolutely loved having him here. If we had 11 Callum Marshalls on that pitch this season, we'd be on to good things this season, let me tell you. But yeah, he's been a bright spark, and he deserves the Player of the Season. It's very hard to talk about Player of the Season, so I'm going to be honest with you. We've had the season that we've had. I'm not going to lie to you, but Marshall has been the bright spark of this squad, and he has come in inexperienced at this level, inexperienced in senior football, and he's done really good stuff for us, showed a lot of good promise, and scored goals and contributed with some assists as well. So, yeah, brilliant. He did deserve it. It's a shame that he got sent. It's a shame that he ended up getting sent off the other day, so he's not going to be playing tomorrow, is it? But sure, he'll be there, and we will. Well, we probably will be saying goodbye to him because I don't think he'll come back next season. Probably a few championship clubs probably will be looking at him on loan now. That's the reality of it. I don't think he'll come back here, but yes, I'm sure we'll all. We appreciate what he's delivered this season for us, for sure. I've kind of gone over the hour mark, which I don't tend to do, but we're going to keep going because I've got probably going to go for another 5-10 minutes. Mike says, hope the Hogg testimony. Well, the thing is, yeah, the fact that he's having a discussion with the owner next week suggests that they've told him that they're not going to have the contract renewed, but then the owner's going to meet him next week. I'm not really sure how that aligns. You're letting somebody go, you're not. What they're discussing in the meeting, I don't know, but the decision seems to be already being made, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's kind of it for the Hogg kind of press conference, his final press conference, if we're to believe what we've... if you think that he's going to, he always, like I said, I've already alluded to it, is it employed by the club just to get people to, get back on board for the game tomorrow and have applause rather than boos, which is what was going to happen. I don't know. That comment that town fan said on X today, I think it was, or yesterday, I can't remember. I don't know. I just feel like, is it just a ploy by the club and we'll end up seeing Hogg play for another season next season? I just don't know. But we have to just take it for what it is at the moment. Clubs can't have any testimonials. The player has to believe due to tax reasons. Is it? I thought the club. Well, the club can say, I think the club have to organise it. I don't think the player can say, right, I want a testimonial. So right, you're gonna have it. Well, okay then, you're gonna have it then. I think the club have to. It feels like it's kind of dark in this room now, isn't it? But you can still see me, of course. The sunlight is still bringing through the window there. But look, we're going to get into the Wayne Rooney situation because I know a lot of people said stuff about Wayne Rooney. Now, obviously, we did see this article. This article was published, wasn't it, by the Football League? Well, I think it was today, wasn't it? Because I was scrolling today and I saw it. And yeah, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. Let's get up then. But I'm going to offer my thoughts on the Rooney situation in a moment. Let me just... Because that link is not going away, is it? There we are, look. Got the article up now. So, yes. Apparently, pundit Joe Jacobson believes Wayne Rooney should be considered by us as we continue our search for permanent manager. So, I don't know what plan he's on. Despite sitting just 1 point out, no, we don't need to read all that, but let's just have a look. There has been rumours, isn't it? You know, and look, you know what? This article is just about why he thinks he should be coming in. But this is an article just about why this pundit thinks he should come in, which I just find it hard to believe. Look, I'm going to put it out there. A lot of people have said their opinion in the chat. I'm on the same page as you guys out there, to be honest with you. Look, I don't want Wayne Rooney, if I'm being honest with you. Look, great guy, amazing footballer, but I don't want him as a manager, guys. That's the reality, because it is a big, big gamble. You know, we can't afford to be doing gambles anymore. There is little evidence in his 4 roles so far as well to suggest that he actually has what it takes to succeed in the dugout at Town. And, you know, when each club he's been at, he seems to have just regressed. I don't know how he keeps getting linked to managerial jobs, other than the fact of because of his name, of what he's done as a player. That's the only reason I can see why he keeps getting linked with jobs. I can't believe he keeps getting linked with jobs, because he hasn't shown anything in, you know, his regressed teams. Look at Plymouth. The mess they're in is down to Wayne Rooney, you know, because they pulled the plug on him too late. And look, they, you know, barring a miracle, tomorrow they'll be relegated to League One to join us. Birmingham, he got them relegated when he went in there. The signs aren't good for me. So for me, Wayne Rooney, that name is not going away from this favourite, from the odds of the next Huddersfield Town manager. It is worrying, because I don't want to see him here. And that is not an appointment that will get fans on board, let me tell you, because you can already see what Town fans are saying on social media about it, that they don't want him. They think it'll be a disaster of appointment. You know, this isn't an appointment that will get everybody on the same page. It's just going to divide the... Well, to be fair, we couldn't be any more divided right now than ever before, but it'll just continue to increase that negative vibe, that negative divide that we have. It won't align. It won't get positivity back into the club. This appointment should not happen, and that is the way I see it. So, guys, I've said it. I don't want Wayne Rooney, in all due respects, and nobody can blame me for saying that. And a lot of you guys out there agree with me anyway about that. So, yes. But, guys, we are going to wrap it up there, to be fair. I've kind of said... I've gone through a lot of things today, tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed the show. Make sure you do drop a like, subscribe, and share the channel around. Like I said, we will be back on Monday for some more content. We might have an extra video for you guys over the weekend. I don't know yet, but probably will be Monday now when we get some more content out there. So yeah. Obviously the bank holiday, so enjoy the bank holiday. And, you know, obviously going tomorrow, let's show our respects for for one of the biggest legends that we've known in this generation. And yeah, let's give Hoggy a send off he deserves. That's what I will say. It's going to be emotional, and yeah, just it is going to be emotional. But you know what, we owe it to be there. Hogg. We owe Hogg to be there for him for one final time. So yes, that is what we're going to be doing. But yeah, thank you everybody for your contributions tonight as well. I appreciate you all your comments, as I always do. And have a good weekend, whatever you get up to. Thanks all for your support this week. Like I said, go back, watch the videos if you haven't seen some of my videos. I've been doing daily uploads for you guys. So if you haven't already, do go and show some love on those videos as well. But yes, it's been a pleasure to be with you on this Friday evening. But until next time, take care, stay safe, and let's all give Hoggy the send-off he deserves tomorrow. Take care, and I will see you very soon.